Hey guys, CBHolo1 here. Welcome back to another video, and today we are back with a new locomotive to the channel. Somehow, I don't know how I haven't done a video on this, but this is my post-war Lionel Sante Fe F3 number 2383 from 1966. So I've had this engine for, well, both of these engines technically, for years, and I don't know how I haven't done a video on these because they do look fantastic and they run great. So I'm going to remedy that today. Seeing as I completely revamped my channel, and I already made another video today. Well, I made the switcher video today. I'm not sure if they're going to go up both on the same day or not. We're going to find out and see how my video editing software does, because I'm starting to use it for properly. So we'll see if I don't break it. But anyway, here we go. So here I go again with a history. So some history on this thing. Lionel produced their Sante Fe war bonnet F3s starting in 1948 with the 2333. They produced them all the way until 1966, with this being their final variant, the 2383. This set has a dummy locomotive here with a light in it, and the motorized unit is a dual motor magnitraction equipped locomotive, again with a functioning headlight. But the magnitraction gave it a lot of pulling power. This was known for being one of the most powerful post-war locomotives Lionel ever produced. And there's just one issue with it, and that is that it was not built to run on track from the 2000s, because this track is made of aluminum. Aluminum does not contain iron. Iron is what gives metal its magnetic properties. This is designed to run on steel rails. These are steel rails. They have iron, which makes them magnetic, which makes this stick to it. And the way I found out that this had magnetraction was not looking it up, but on my old layout I didn't actually have any of my tracks screwed down. So the first time I ran this thing, I really liked it, but I wanted to run another train, so I went to go pick it up off the layout and ended up taking half the layout with it. And if you're wondering what my old layout was, you're looking at it. It was here to about here, going back to about here. So this little middle cutout was the old layout. So rather than just, making a new table, we decided we would add on to this one and raise up the old one. So there's actually 8 legs underneath of this thing, 4 for the old table and 4 for the extension that we added. That it forms a C shape that kind of hugs the side of it. But if you were wondering where my old layout went, it's still here. Anyway, so for being from 1966, the paint job on this engine has survived the test of time. There are a couple chips in it and whatnot, but that's just because it's a used locomotive, and I love this thing, and I ran it a lot. I still do run it a lot. I don't run it as much as I run the 2035 because I like steam. But it is a beautiful locomotive, and it definitely does pull. This thing could easily pull every single car that I have, and probably some of the locomotives just dragging behind it without any issues on steel rails. So it's a beast. And if you were looking for a demonstration, which you probably weren't, but I'm going to give you anyway, I'm going to try and... Yeah, it's got some grip. And I'm not sure if I'm going to be making this a regular part of my videos, but if you want to see the internals of the engines more often, let me know in the comments, and I will happily show you. But anyway, ta-da! Here's the inside of the engine. It's held on by a single screw up front, and then you just have to slide it out of the 2 little holes in the back, and you do that by pulling it forward. But here you go. There's the 2 motors. There's the E-unit that I explained in my switcher video, that I apparently just have 3 of sitting under my platform. But and then there's the horn. You may notice the speaker is not in here. The speaker is in the same box that the rest of the E-units are in, and all of the other stuff. I'm planning on reinstalling it once I fix what's wrong with this thing. But I haven't actually gotten around to sitting down and taking this off and looking at it thoroughly to try and repair it. Haven't done that yet. I probably will, because these things had some pretty nice horns. But yeah, so there you go. There's the inside of the 2383. And if you didn't believe me for some reason, first, shame on you. Second, well, here it is. Yeah, I tend to keep, like, everything. Anything that I take out of one of these locomotives, I keep. Anything that breaks off of these locomotives, I keep. Because I eventually plan to restore all of these at some point in either the near or distant future. But yeah, there's the speaker with its single wire that I need to put back in the engine. And the reason this is not in there is because, one, I need to fix it. Two, this was the first engine. Well, technically, this was the second engine I was going to put that TMCC board in. So before I was going to put it in that, I was going to put it in this because I really liked this engine and I really wanted it to have TMCC, but I needed space. And if you watched my switcher video, you'll know that I said that finding holes for the board is incredibly difficult. The other issue with this, as you just saw in the last shot, because I had all the internals showing, but there's very little space in here, and there are very fewer just spare holes sitting around for me to mount the board. So the board wouldn't actually fit in here. Before this, it was a post-war steam locomotive. Not that one, thank God, because the other one is it used to run better. Let's just say that it still runs, it still functions normally. It just doesn't really have a light anymore. But anyway, so I was originally going to put it in that one, then I was going to put it in this one. Realized that it didn't fit, so I put it in that one because I made it fit in that one, and it had some holes just kind of sitting around. So that's why that one has a TMCC board and not this, and not the other locomotive I have down there that I tried to put it in. So for the purposes of lengthening this video, because why not, these are the passenger cars that I normally run it with. These were produced by Lionel between 1954 and 1958. I don't actually know what year these particular ones were made, but they look very nice. There's apparently supposed to be a fourth. There's a 2434 that I do not have, but oh well. They run great. The lights are a little bit fiddly, but I can fix that easy if I actually wanted to like sit down and do it, but they're not causing me too many issues right now, so I'm not going to bother. But the one thing that's missing from all of them, except this one, is these little top screws. They used to all have it. Every single one of those holes used to have one of these screws. And then I took them all out one day and put them somewhere and lost them. And I have no idea where they are because it was like 10 years ago or something like that I actually like took them off and lost them. Because if it was today, I would have kept them somewhere. But it makes it very easy to just, take the top off and show you the inside. But, yeah, anyway. So that's what I'm going to be running it with. So if you're wondering why I don't run these passenger cars very often, there's your answer. I love these things. I've always liked like Pennsylvania Railroad passenger cars, and when I got these things and I restored them, I fell in love with them, and I now run these like constantly. But they don't really fit behind the Santa Fe, so I don't really run them behind the Santa Fe. But also, the main reason is because I've always run the 2383 with those silver passenger cars. Like, ever since I got the 2383 and I got those passenger cars, they've always run together. I don't think I've ever really run anything else behind that engine except when I'm strength testing it. So I continue to, like, only run those passenger cars behind the 2383. So, that's why you don't see them more often. Alright, so enough talk. Let's run trains. I will be doing a strength test at the end of this video, so stay tuned for that. So, as promised, I hooked up a bunch of my post-war era cars. Um, what you're seeing now is, by the way, that boxcar has sound in it, is all the cars that it can pull. It doesn't like it, but it pulls it. But keep in mind, this is on aluminum track, so it doesn't have the advantage of magnet traction. Those are, well, if you include the two cabooses, these are the only 4 cars that it could not pull. All of the other cars here, while struggling, it does pull it on aluminum track. If I had this on steel track, it likely would be able to pull it just fine. But that my loop's not big enough for all these cars. So, anyway, without further ado, let's not waiting for anybody. So there you have it. My 1966 Lionel Sante Fe F3 in the War Bonnet paint scheme, number 2383. I hope you guys enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed this engine. It's very powerful. I know in the beginning I said I could pull almost every single one of my cars on steel track. These are the heaviest cars I have. And this train is heavy. Like, it takes a lot for me to move it by hand. So, I'm not terribly surprised by the fact that this thing struggles. But on steel track, like I said, it would probably not have any issues. But anyway, I am CW Hollow 1, and have a good day. Or maybe good night in your case. See ya.